Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary on shows I like to watch. Now, before I start, I want to ask that you go ahead, like, follow, share, and subscribe. And on YouTube, where I upload my companion episode of my podcast, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way you can get a notification every time I post a new episode and you won't miss out. It doesn't cost you anything to follow and subscribe, so go ahead, subscribe, hit the bell, and thank you in advance. All right, so welcome back. I thank you so much for joining me. Your presence is very much appreciated. Okay, so let's catch up on the live feeds. There was a lot of game talk last night and more today. They're still counting votes, which is good, I guess. Each side wants to make sure they have the votes they think they have, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It was a little bit more exciting than last night. And throughout the day. So let's get into it. All right. So yesterday, after I decided to call it a night, Kyle and Herman, they were talking names of the four, right? And the four are Kyle, Herman, Marty, and Gino. And they were settling on a name for that four. So that's the alliance now between those four guys. And Kyle suggested the Village Voice or the Village Boys. And then the short name would be BB4. Because they are the voice of the village. They're the nucleus of the house. It just sounded like just the arrogance. But yeah, so I don't know if this is necessarily a new alliance because I think these guys were already aligned. But now there's a new alliance with, I guess, a name, right? So it's the Village Boys. I believe that's what they settled on. And then the short name is BB4. And that is Kyle, Gino, Marty, and Herman. Now, keep in mind, this is Kyle making this suggestion and Herman is agreeing to it, right? So Kyle thinks there is a Final Four alliance with him, Gino, Marty, and Herman. I don't know if Herman is really into this, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. All right. Let's see. I was getting ready to talk about Kyle. Let's see. The way Kyle talked about Jess in the episode they aired on episode 6, right? I missed episode 6 last night. I don't know what I was thinking or what I was doing. But I missed episode 6, and I think I'm kind of wrong in something here. In one of my previous episodes, I kept saying, I don't believe Jess is a target. I don't believe Jess is a target in terms of Kyle and all this mess, the mess that he made. But in episode 6, they tried to paint the picture that Jess is a target, right? Based on how they edited it and showed Kyle talking about, Jess and stuff. They made it appear that they were painting Jess as being a target, right? But then when Kyle and Herman were talking, they went back to saying, oh, they're just a number for them, right? They were just saying Jess is just a number for them. So I was half right. I really don't, but the way they edited that episode to try to put some logic on what Kyle did in his HOH nominations, it was very savvy. Like, they're good at their job in terms of editing. They can create a story, but we that see the live feeds and watch the live feeds, we know that there was no logic to it. But the way they spliced things together, it was very good. It was very good. It almost made you believe that he thought through things, and he didn't. All right. I haven't talked much about JC Lynn and Gino and their showmance. And that's because I'm just not interested. I'm just not. I can't stand hearing them kiss. It's just, whatever. All right. Moose talked about straightening his hair. So we'll have to see. I don't want Moose to straighten his hair. I like the curly mane. But he's trying different hairstyles, I guess. It makes it interesting, I suppose. It's similar to what I mentioned when I first started talking about BB Canada. Moose's mane, like his hair and his eyes and the curly hair and stuff, reminds me so much of Christian from BBUS. Christian was in this last year's episode, or excuse me, last year's season, BB23. And Christian and his hair, he had curly hair. The hair was always in his eyes. He was always swinging it back and forth. They kept playing it in slow motion. It was just like so ridiculous. Christian and that hair. He wore a bonnet. He had ponytails. He had braids. So I see the similarities with Moose and his hair. And now Moose is talking about wearing his hair straight. And I'm like, don't do it. Just don't. We like the curly, the wild. I like that look on him. All right, I also wanted to make note that Helena and Jess, they do notice how Kevin often reports back to Kyle and or Marty. Yeah, so that's not going unnoticed, and good for them. They're paying attention. I see other people online have aligned Helena and Jess, and I think they call them Jess Lena. And it's old news, but I bring that up because after this week, we see them talking more, right? And it's no secret that Jess, Helena, and Kevin are really on the outskirts, and they're basically being used as a number in the game. Like, people aren't really pulling them into alliances. At least they haven't up to this last week or so, right? But now with the Rebel rejects, right? And maybe this will be it for Helena and she feels included on the team. I don't know. I think we'll see where she lands after Thursday's vote, right? We'll see exactly where Helena lands because I think she's all over the place and not being like careless or sloppy. I mean, she does spill things, but that's not what I'm talking about. Helena is playing a very good game to me. She's talking to everyone. Everyone is trying to do a final two with her. She always hears information. She shares information. She tells. She was outing all of her alliances she was originally in. And yet, she's on no one's radar. She's on no one's radar. And that's good gameplay to me. But I think Thursday will tell us more in terms of where Jess, Helena, and Kevin, where they are in terms of which side of the house. I feel like right now they're in the middle and they're playing each side. They're trying to play hard, but each side, again, only views them as numbers. So we'll have to see. All right. So after Thursday, do you think Herman will show his hand? Right? I think he's planning to vote Josh out. I think he's planning to vote for Josh to stay, and he'll blame it on either Kevin or Jess. The same as he did with the last vote with Jay. And that's another thing I forgot to talk about. They were trying so much to figure out the rogue vote last week, right? Who's the other person that voted for Jay? In episode 6, they showed where Kyle admitted that he was one vote for Jay, right? And no one claimed the second vote, but we saw that Herman made the other vote, and he played dumb all week pretending he didn't know who made the vote. And he was tossing Jess's name out there as a person that potentially voted. And he's very good at lying. Both him and Kevin, they both are in sales, right? Herman is more based on style, because he has to sell a car and stuff like that. And Kevin is he's a sales engineer, so it's based more on technical stuff. But they're both good at lying, right? I think, right? They both are comfortable lying. They play it off. They play coy. I think it's a must in the BB game, and we love it, right? Yeah. I hadn't noticed before, but there are a few smokers in the house, and I was surprised to see Gino smoking this morning. I think Herman smokes too. I'm not sure, but I was very surprised to see Gino with a cigarette in his mouth. I also think Jess may still smoke or maybe quit. I remember hearing Jess talking about smoking, but you have to tell me. But I did see Gino this morning with a cigarette in his mouth, and it surprises me because he's so into fitness, right? Into his body and being healthy, I thought. And isn't he a vegan? Or maybe he's not the vegan. But I don't know, that surprised me. He's such a cutie with the tattoo. But that smoking, this is just an observation. All right. I also failed to mention that they are studying the wall in the pantry, right? They do that a lot, as well as they count days, they're noticing things around the house. And as a fan, I really appreciate that because they all are playing amongst, despite all of the chaos, they are really trying to play and prepare, and they're ready to compete. I love it. By the way, I remember seeing Betty telling Tanisha, Helena, and Josh that there's a comp made for her to win. And I thought, oh, bless her heart. Betty's determined to win something. And she was talking with him. She's like, I know there's a comp out there for me to win. I felt so like, oh, that melted my heart. I want Betty to win, right? We all want her to win. We just want to see the satisfaction of her like achieving a win, an HOH win or a Power Veto win. And we also want to see the reaction of the others once she does make that happen. All right. Yesterday, I talked about Marty working to secure safety outside of Kyle and Gino. I think there is a Final Four alliance brewing between Helena, Marty, Josh, and I believe Kevin. So I'm interested to see if that's really a thing and then how that plays out. Another observation I made is the battery change, right? So I think it's a clever element because they rotate who does it. And it's an opportunity for the battery person to see who's talking with whom and how their demeanor changes. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I had a coughing attack. And I don't know how to edit it out yet on this podcast software. I'll learn it one day, but not today. All right. Where was I going? Oh, the battery change. I think it's a clever element because they rotate house guests. Who does it one day? Everyone gets a chance. And to me, it seems like that would be an opportunity for the battery person. Oh my God. I don't know what's happening. What is going on? Okay. Again, the battery. I'll get it out this time. I just think it's a way for people to just see others' demeanor in terms of who they're talking to, how they shift when they come around, and they can observe certain things. And maybe it's not so big of a deal. I think it's an advantage, right? But I don't know. What do you think? All right. Later in the pantry, Herman confirms that the plan, and it looks like we have a blindside coming, right? The only caveat Herman made is that if anyone finds out beforehand what they're planning to do, he's not going through with it. And so Herman plans to vote for Josh to stay. He's going to blame Kevin, especially if it's a 6-5 vote. But I think it'll be a 6-5. That's 11 people. I think it'll be 7-4, to be honest. But we'll have to see. People might chicken out at the last minute. And if their side wins HOH, he's going to have a few choice words for Kyle. I don't want to repeat what Herman said, but just let's say it has to do with the mouth and a male bird. Okay. All right. Herman is now talking to Big Brother. You know how Marty talked to Canada? So Herman is now looking into the camera, talking to Big Brother. And he says, Big Brother, he starts talking about how Kyle is delusional. And he's referring to how Kyle has no idea what's happening right now. And he doesn't. But I just find it comical that Herman likes to talk to Big Brother. He talks into the camera and says, Big Brother. And then Marty likes to talk to Canada. I was talking to Canada. I told Canada. It always makes me laugh when I hear Marty say that. He points to the camera and is like, I told Canada. They can see it. They can see it right there. Oh, my goodness, Marty. It was brought to my attention about Summer and Gino. I see tweets about how he looks at her, right? And remember, she was walking around that bathrobe and she was walking in the HOH room. Now, when people have HOH, a lot of people like to use the HOH room because they have privacy, right? So I guess this was one night where Summer, she was asking, was it Kyle? Yeah, because all the guys are up there. if she could take a shower up there. And so she was walking around and she went to go get her shower cap or something, but she had her towel wrapped around her. And when she walked by the guys, her mom said, "Are you serious right now?" Her mom, he was like, "Are you serious right now? Like, you really talking to us in this in this bathrobe?" It was so funny to me. And Gino was staring. But anyway, there was a lot of tweets about that. Like, look at how Gino's looking at Summer and all of that. And so many people like, yeah, they'll look cute together and all of that. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon quite yet. But it was brought to my attention. Well, first of all, they both are very attractive people, right? Summer's a very cute girl. Gino's very cute. The tattoo thing does it. So I wouldn't be shocked if they were attracted to each other, right? That wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't surprise me. They're young people. They're single, and they're good-looking people. But Summer, she's doing what someone would do when they're attracted to another person, right? And that's flirting. I did see her give him that hug, and she practically straddled him, pretending she lost her balance, right? And thank you, Lou, for giving me the information on where I could see that on the footage. I found that, and that was pretty funny to me. She acted like she lost her balance, and she's damn near straddling him while she's giving him a hug. That was funny. And then last night, she's putting her hands all on Gino's arm. It's sort of sensual. And she even told them she likes testing boundaries and she likes to take it there. This is exactly what she said. I like testing boundaries and I like to take it there. And here's Gino. What do you mean? He was just so like, what do you mean? And smiling at the same time, right? And then she said, if we weren't on the TV show, and she gave him a look, she shook her head, and she said, I'm just going to leave it right there. And she walked away. And Gino started smiling, right? So she's definitely flirting with him. And JC Lynn is like 3 feet away while she's doing this. And I'm like, what is happening? Summer, what are you doing? But JC Lynn is acting like she doesn't see it. But we women, we know, we see things, right? Even when you're thinking we're not looking, we see it. And for some women, it's a superpower. We can see all angles, every direction. We know what's going on. But JC Lynn was acting like she didn't see it. She wasn't paying attention and all that. And this could get messy. The further they go into the game, I could see it getting messy, but I'm hoping it doesn't, because as they often say in the house, we've only known each other for 14 days, or they keep counting, increment every day they're there. 15 days. So they haven't known each other well. So I hope, because they don't know each other, they won't show their ass, I'm just hoping that everybody will maintain and say, you know what, I'm not going to embarrass myself on TV. So I'm hoping they're mature enough to just not get messy. Okay. And let's be clear, Gino is entertaining this with Summer. As long as he continues to entertain it, Summer's not going to stop doing it. Right? He's not saying, no, don't do this, no, whatever. He's not going to stop. He's going to entertain this, and she'll keep doing it. But I'm hoping it won't get messy, too messy, where it's like they're embarrassing themselves on TV. I hope it doesn't happen. So you never know, right? And maybe Summer's plan is to throw off JC Lynn, right? Or throw off her game by doing something like this. Get her distracted. You never know. All right, Marty hasn't been able to get sleep. He says he couldn't sleep all night. He was up early this morning playing pool, looking for superpowers. He was talking about this red ribbon was under a couch. There's been missing flowers, missing mats that they work out on. So he sounds a little paranoid, but the lack of sleep, and then he's mad at Kyle. He doesn't trust Kyle anymore. He feels like he's the low man on the totem pole between Kyle, him, and Gino. So he seems worried to me. And then he's reaching out to people trying to make final twos and get a new alliances, securing safety elsewhere. So Marty looks worried to me. And some would say it serves him right for what he did to Jay, right? All right. Well, Kyle has been on the feeds a lot this morning, and it wasn't even noon before I had already had enough of him for the day. This guy, he is so condescending. And then I thought, well, maybe I'm being too harsh, right? Because as a viewer, we criticize their gameplay and stuff like that. But Kyle makes it so hard to like him. He's just so arrogant. And maybe the game is bringing this out in him. I don't know. But sometimes I think the person that he's presenting to us is who he really is. It's not far-fetched to think that Calamity Kyle is confident and cocky in real life, right? All right, Kyle tells Josh this morning he's still banged up about putting him up. And he didn't give him, he felt bad because he didn't give him a chance because it's the back door, right? It's the definition of a back door. He put up 2 original nominees. One of them pulled themselves off the block and you put the other person on the block. And that person is considered a back door because they hadn't had a chance to play for the veto to save themselves, right? Some people use it as strategy, right? Remember Nokomis and BBUS? I think it was season 5. She's the one who made or coined the term. I think that's the term. She coined the term backdoor, right? And I think they did that to Jace. I think if my memory serves me right. But I remember it's Nokomis came up with the backdoor plan. All right. Meanwhile, we live feeders are looking at Kyle and we're saying, okay, you can be banged up all you want, Kyle, but wait until Thursday when Josh is still there and he's competing for their HOH and you have to sit on the sidelines and watch this mess. Let's see how banged up you are then. And then Josh asked Kyle, when they were talking, Josh asked Kyle if he had to do it all over again, knowing what he knows now, would he do the same thing? And Kyle said, yeah. I mean, he was like, yeah. I have to play 3 steps ahead. And I'm like, look at you trying to act like you made this quote unquote big move and you thinking 3 steps ahead. No, you weren't, Kyle. First of all, the reason that Josh is on the block is because Marty told you to put him up there. That's why. Right? It had nothing to do with strategy and you thinking through long term and 3 steps ahead. That's all BS. We see it. We know it. So I don't know who he's trying to convince, but he's not convincing us, right? Excuse me. This morning, Kyle and Marty talking outside about votes. Marty tells Kyle to make sure you have the votes. Make sure you have the votes. He keeps repeating that. And Kyle is like, don't worry. Don't worry. He's so confident and cocky. Ugh, I just can't stay. But he keeps saying, don't worry. And then Marty tells him to make sure. Are you sure? Because you may not have Alina's vote. He's like, no, I talked to her yesterday, but I'll talk to her again this morning. Don't worry. And then when Kyle walks back inside, Marty asks production. He talks into his mic and asks production for a bell to put around Kyle's neck because Kyle has been following him around everywhere. That cracked me up. More importantly, it's just to show you how less than smart Kyle has shown himself to be during his HOH. He went from being in 2 alliances, not really being a target, to now being a target for sure, or the target for sure. And he lost 2 alliances and losing one of his closest allies, Marty, and he doesn't even know it. Like, oh my goodness. When he gets out of the house and sees this, he'll reflect. And then, everyone moves on with their lives, right? All right. Now Marty is playing it right to me. I think to keep safe in the game. He's secretly making deals. He's talking with Helena. He's talking with Josh. He's talking with Kevin. It's smart for Marty to because he's safeguarding his game, or he's trying to, right? Kyle, on the other hand, did all this destruction in the first few days of his HOH and is less safe than ever. I mean, he'll never be that insulated in the game as he was when he was in the 2 alliances before. He wasn't even on the radar, but now he's lost that, right? He blew up the 2 alliances. He's not insulated in the game. It's all over in terms of him being safe. His game has gotten so much harder from this HOH train. He'll always be on defense, always. right? All right. This afternoon, they are doing more studying. Marty tells Summer that flowers are going missing. And I was talking about this earlier. So Marty and Summer are in the Expedia room. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. And he tells her that flowers are going missing, the orange flowers. Once there was 4, then 3, now there's only 1. And then Summer said, well, since you shared a secret with me, let me share a secret with you. Can I get it out? Oh my God. Marty said there are flowers going missing, the orange flowers. And, he is convinced that it has to do with the competition that's coming up. So since he shared that with Summer said, I'm going to share a secret with you. And she told him that the letter Q is missing off of the phone in the mystery room. Do we have a letter Q on the phone? I think so. But anyway, she noticed that. So I'm thinking whatever's happening with the house, with things going missing and things like, I think something's brewing, right? We're going to see that in a comp, or maybe it'll be like a luxury thing or some type of power. Who knows? All right. So where are we before eviction night, right? When I'm recording this is a Wednesday early evening. And so tomorrow, Thursday night, is going to be the eviction night. And what do we know? Marty doesn't trust his boys anymore, and he's working hard to secure safety somewhere else. The plan is to keep Josh and blindside Kyle. The rebel rejects are on board. And then there's Marty, Helena, and Kevin, who are on board too. And Jess, we think, is on board as well. Marty will vote out Josh, but trying to set it up where he works with Josh, Helena, and Kevin afterwards, right? So Marty's working hard to safeguard his game. Herman and Marty are playing each side. Each of them are aligned with the boys, but because of Calamity Kyle, they turned on him and want Kyle out. Well, I should say Herman wants Kyle out. Marty just says, I don't trust Kyle anymore. Jess is still playing her own game. And try as they might, they are still seen as a number only, right? But Jess is really working, trying to be involved, be engaged, and stuff like that. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I'm just so phlegmy and just like, I don't know what's happening. I should have put on my humidifier before I recorded this. All right, yeah. Where did I leave off? Oh, Jess is still playing her own game. She's still showing up and inserting herself in conversations. She's still acting weird in conversations. Yeah, that's it. Summer and Tanisha, they're working good as a social game, yeah, but I feel they need a win and they need to gain some type of power for it to mean more, right? They both are on people's radar, so they need to win something soon. Helena, she's all over that house and becoming more aligned with a lot of people. I think that Kyle, Gino, Herman, they think of her as a number, yes. But now she's gained Marty as a secret ally. She's gained Josh as an ally, as well as Jess and Kevin. Not only that, she's in the Rebel Rejects. I think Helena has developed in her game. She's on no one's radar. That's good game to me. That's really good game to me. All right. Gino is also sitting pretty now. Well, he was always sitting pretty to me. I think of him as like a silent assassin. He hasn't done much outwardly in the game, in my opinion. But he still is behind the scenes, like strategizing. And he watches people. He gives his input. He's their sounding board, right? And so he influences that way. He has influence that way. And his opinion holds weight within the boys, right? So he says his piece. He's just not outwardly with it. Everyone else is so loud, he can just fall behind and be the quiet one, right? I thought I heard him say something about using an intimidating type strategy for next week. So I'm interested to see what that looks like, right? I heard Gino say this. All right. And Moose, he's still a target for the guys. Yes. I think he could be on the outskirts too. But for some reason, I think he still may vote with the boys in the effort to get back in with the boys. And maybe not get back in with Kyle, but Herman and Josh, maybe. I don't know. But then again, I did see him celebrating or getting excited, so excited he passed gas in the pantry room when Herman, Josh, and Moose were talking about the plan. So maybe Moose is back on board with them, and he has decided that that's the side of the house he's going to work on. I think that's what I'm seeing. JC Lynn, she's aligned with the boys and has safety with Gino until she doesn't. But in the entire picture of where JC Lynn is in the game, she's on the outskirts with the boys. If Steph stays, I could see them continuing to align, and that's better for her game. And trying, in terms of trying to have numbers. But she is another one that has to win comps to stay alive. Look at Steph right now. Steph is on the block. She was found to be expendable to the boys. And so is JC Lynn, quite honest. When that time comes, I guarantee if they stay intact like they are, JC Lynn is on the bottom of the list. They'll get rid of her if they have to. Kyle, all right. He did make me laugh last night when Gino and him, they were playing chess and they heard someone coming. So they tried to hurry up and put chess pieces on the board just to make it look like they were playing chess, because they weren't playing. They were talking game at the time. But they heard someone coming, so they hurry up and try to move around the chess pieces. And Kyle was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, just put the daggone... Oh my God, it was funny to me. All right. And then Kyle said, pretty soon it's going to be where when people come into the room, they're going to be talking and they're just going to say, quick, hug me. Or quick, give me a hug or something like that. It was funny. But Kyle's game is in jeopardy for sure. There's no denying that. He shot himself in the foot this week with this quote unquote big move that it took him 3 times to get to, right? With Steph, Moose, and that. I don't want to repeat myself. It just stresses me out every time I look at it. I'm like, what is going on? All right. I'm interested to see his reaction after Thursday night. Once they play the HOH, I'm interested to see two reactions from him. The first one is once Josh stays. And then the second reaction is once someone from the other side wins HOH. I hope they pan the camera, like zoom in right on him. We just want to see his face. So production, please, let's just keep the camera on Kyle. All right. And he can't play, so he's just going to be just like shaking. Oh, we love it, right? Just like he blew up his own alliances. He's targeted people from his own alliance. He would have had Savage 7 and The Retreat playing in this next HOH. He's in 2 alliances, so he would have had all those people playing in this next HOH, which the odds are that someone probably would have won from one of the 2 alliances. But now he has no one, right? Well, he has Gino and Marty playing in the next HOH for him. He thinks he has Herman, but he doesn't. So, he went from 2 alliances to now 2 guys. But in his mind, he thinks it's 4 of them all together, right? Kyle, Gino, Marty, and Herman. And he thinks they're the strongest players in the house, and he's comfortable with that. And now he's trying to create something with bringing Helena in. Like, he's so arrogant, and he just can't, his ego, he can't see past this. He's not strategic at all. He's not a strategic thinker. It's just so unbelievable to me. Yeah, I can't even get the words out. He frustrates me so much. All right. There's an episode airing tonight. I missed last night's, like I said. So I had to wait until after they posted it on their site. And does anyone know what time they routinely post the episodes on that Big Brother Canada site? I heard it was midnight Eastern time. But when I checked yesterday, it still wasn't posted. And I checked as late as 1 p.m. Yesterday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern, and it still wasn't posted. So I'm not sure when they post the new episodes. And if anyone knows, please share so I can try to schedule my time around that. I don't know what I was doing last night for me to miss it. Maybe I forgot that it I don't know. I forgot it came on at all. And tonight it comes on at 7 p.m. Eastern. So I want to make sure I get this out and then we come back. I'm so looking forward to tomorrow night's episode with the eviction. I can't wait. I'm going to have my popcorn ready. Are you? All right. You have to let me know what you think is going to happen on eviction night tomorrow night. So let's chat it up in the comments, okay? And that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. So you can also leave me a comment, leave me a message. I'm going off from memory again. If you're listening to the podcast, there's a link to leave me a message. So you have to check that out. All right. My name is Danielle, and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.